Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. What's going on, everybody? This is the Dukes of Gaming podcast, and this is your boy Thomas. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. I have my co-host with me, Paul. How you doing this week, man?
I'm great. I'm glad to be back, fired up. Good to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Ben, what's going on?
Not much, man. I got a retraction or maybe a correction last week's episode. At the very end of the episode, I was Googling a little bit, which is always dangerous if you don't have time to double check your sources. We're talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and there's this Forbes article a gentleman called Matt Perez wrote, in which he claims that the series has sold an estimated 1.4 billion copies. That is not true. It's an insane number. No game series has ever sold that many copies. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is probably something more like 30 to 50 million copies. And it's probably something what he probably meant to say was that it has sold $1.4 billion in revenue.
That makes sense.
That's not what he said, and then that's not what I said. So I gotta correct the record there, Matt.
No game has sold it, but GTA 5 is on its way. And speaking of which, what's going on, Cole? How you doing this week?
Good. Coming to you live from the closet. There's no place I'd rather be. Talking to you fine Dukes of Gaming.
Live from the closet. That sounds like a mixtape.
Live from the closet.
What's going on, Alfredo? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Still Duke of Education here, taking care of my students. But turned into Duke of Bullet Hells this week with our Returnal action. So, yeah. We'll get into it later, though.
Well, man, let's get into it right now, then. So, what have we been playing? I guess obligatory, we've kind of all been playing Returnal, if I'm hearing correctly.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is going to be kind of a continuation on last week, us going over, just kind of our first impressions. I feel like we all kind of have a good gauge of what this game is now. So let's start off with the person who's already beaten Returnal.
Oh, God.
That's me.
Alfredo, what are your thoughts?
So, yeah, all right. So, got the game Friday, finished it Sunday. Total time of 15 hours, 8 deaths, technically 9 if you look at the screen, but we won't talk about how the game screwed me over in the last biome. And had to do a completely dry run from the 5th biome. But yeah, finished it 15 hours. Definitely planning on going back to it this week sometime to go in, actually finish the game, because there is like a secret ending that I want to get, but it has a few requirements that I didn't want to get into since I had just, spent entirely the whole weekend just playing it, going through runs, trying to beat this game. So essentially, basically, after you beat the game, you have to beat the game again, look for special items, and do specific things in order to get the secret ending. So I got lucky / was very, very careful in my runs, which is why I was able to beat it with only 15 hours, I think. I had the perfect artifacts. I had the perfect gun I wanted on my next to last run. I had literally everything, and I didn't really know which biome I was because the game does something in its second half that makes you question which, of the 6 biomes you're kind of in. Turns out I was in the very, very end of the 5th biome where you were going to get a permanent item to allow you to get into the 6th biome. And just as I entered the animation to grab that item where it actually says, the game crashed. So I had to completely start over that run. But on that next run, I did get the item, and I beat the boss first time. I was able to, every single boss except for the first boss, I beat on my first time, which I was a little surprised at. I play a lot of bullet hell games, and I play a lot of roguelike games, so I'm pretty cautious normally when it comes to that. I'm just used to dodging a lot of things on screen, but overall I really enjoyed my time with it. It's definitely super, super fun. It scratches that arcade itch that I definitely had, scratches the roguelike itch I had. The only thing I would say for me is that now finishing the game and looking back, I do stand by my initial impression of for me personally, I don't think it's worth $70 because I do still compare it, looking at the game as a whole, I compare it a lot to Hades, which I actually looked back at my game clock for Hades just to see how many hours I spent in that game, just finishing it. And it took me 24 hours to finish that game. And I had just as much fun with Hades, just as much fun, just the mechanics in it. It's obviously Returnal is a AAA game, but I had just as much fun with Hades. And at the time, I got Hades early access for like $15. Thank you, Epic Game Store coupon. So I'm comparing that game, that roguelike game for $15 to this $70 Returnal game, which in my eyes gave me the same amount of fun, same amount of, they do very different things. And at the end of the day, Returnal is a AAA package. So I can't say that I regret it, but I probably would wait, to spend that cash if I were to do it all again. But I mean, that being said, like I said, I'm going to go back, play it again, get that secret ending. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and the game does some really, really cool stuff with the genre that really hasn't been done elsewhere. So yeah, I recommend it, just not for $70.
Got you. Cole,
I'm like 7 or 8 hours into the game, and I have not cleared the second biome. So something tells me you're just pretty damn good at this thing, Alfredo.
Yeah, you said 15 hours, 8 deaths, and I was like, I have 8 deaths, and I have not disabled the first force field yet.
Like I said, I play a lot of rogue. Like I played Risk of Rain, I play Hades. Like I'm pretty used to what's that? Was Wizard of Legend? Like all those games are like bullet hell arcadey. So like I play a lot of it. So like just keep trying, you'll get it.
So well, you know what, Cole, well, we haven't heard your thoughts on it. Have you gotten a chance to play it?
Yeah, I've played about so my cousin's in town, he was a huge gamer. We played Rocket League, and we played Towerfall Ascension, which is incredible. But anyway, we played about 2.5 hours, and I am extremely impressed. To me, it's the most next gen feeling game that there is. Like, I love Demon Souls, but it's still Demon Souls with just beautiful graphics. The best.
It's a
graphics
PS3 game with PS5 paint over it.
Yeah, exactly. The gameplay is still the same, but this whole package feels like PS5, and this was particularly my most hyped game of the year by far. There's really nothing else that I'm really extremely looking forward to, but I was looking forward to this because I love Dead Cells and Hades and those kind of games. It really felt to me, it didn't feel as much. Now I have only played 2 hours, but it just didn't have that same feeling as, all right, let me make one more run, because it's so, I felt like it was just so much. I'm a little disappointed by that because I feel like it was so, I don't know, it just feels so much more in depth, so much more AAA, esque. So I feel like it takes away a little bit of that. Now you guys can tell me if that changes. Like I kind of hope that changes, but Hades, like you could pop in there and in 15 minutes you're just deep into it, man. And the action's like constant. I feel like every run seems to start a little slower. But I don't know. I really do like it. I like the way the enemies move. It reminds me of like a Bloodborne or something. Like they're just so quick and they move so crazy. I don't know. It's awesome. It really is awesome. And the way that they attack, with the bullets going everywhere, and in the vein of like a Resogun or a bullet hell, like they just spray out in all those different patterns and it's all colorful. Man, it's awesome. I don't know quite yet if I'm gonna love it like I love Dead Cells and Hades, but I do like it and I do want to beat it. I'm still on the fence. So what do you guys think? Does it get that more addictive? Like I got to keep playing for that second to second gameplay?
For me, it's been like the opposite experience where I had that initially and I had that feeling of, okay, I'm just gonna go in for one more run. But the longer the runs take, the less I am feeling that. Get to the end of I'm trying to beat the second boss. I got like this close on the like final phase of the boss. just a little bit more health to whittle away, and died, and I haven't picked up the game since. It's been a couple of days because I just was so frustrated at that. So I feel like it's a little bit of the opposite for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Dude, so the one thing I do really like, Hades, everyone was raving about the story. I didn't really care for the story that much. I just like the gameplay. And I mean, it's neat, but like this story so far is almost like the best part about it. Like I filmed the house, you walk through the house, it's very PT, like pretty creepy. And then you find it, you see the house first, then you get the key. So then you go back. So like it's all these little nuggets that I'm like, man, that's really compelling. They took that Hades, I guess they probably developed it before Hades, but that storytelling aspect, and it seems awesome. I don't know if that continues being compelling.
Yeah,
but
that's so interesting that you say that, because for me, I was in it for the game and for the arcadey feel, for the mechanics themselves, not so much the story. Because I didn't really know what was going on, but I was interested to find out. And as the game progressed, I was like, okay, this makes sense. This happened, but I still don't know what's going on. So I was excited to see what unfolded. And one of the reasons why I had to step away from it, so I haven't touched this game since last Sunday, because I just was like, okay, I played this a lot. I need a break and just let's play some other games. So basically what happened was, on my last run, because you basically get to go in the house at certain checkpoints that you unlock throughout the story. How far you get in each biome determines when the house is available for a new story sequence, basically. And because my last runs, I went when I entered the sixth biome, I went all the way straight through, beat the boss without it starting over anything. I never got the final sequence to see what happens in the story. So because of that, you actually do need all of the sequences in order to activate the secret ending. So because I beat the boss, what I need to do is I need to go another run. I need to activate the last sequence. I need to beat the boss again, and then I can start the things to do in order to unlock the secret ending. So I need to go through at least 2 more runs, and well, way more than that, but I need to go through extra runs in order to do that. So I need a little break. That being said, at the end of the game, when I did finish it, I was super confused as to the answers that they gave me of what the hell happened in this game. I was like, what? It didn't make sense. So I definitely need to see that secret ending and the last sequence of the house, just to hopefully everything will start to fit in place. I got little nuggets of what's happening, kind of, but when I got hit by that Returnal end credit, it flashes the title, I was like, what? I don't know what this means. It does give you some, but I have a feeling that you have to really go the extra mile and unlike that third act in order for everything to make sense, at least, unless you want to look it up. But I eventually want to get there. But that is, as of now, I have no idea what the hell is going on in the game, and I finished it.
Yeah, it's definitely a ambitious game. I respect what they've done, and just the mechanics of it from a third-person shooter perspective, it's an amazing game. From just that
Yes.
perspective alone.
Yes.
My issue is because I've beaten the second boss. And not that I've hit a wall, it's just, when I died after beating that second boss, my thought process was just, this took me 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel so defeated right now. I don't think a game has ever made me feel more defeated than this game. And if not, I have to think about it, because when a run is, whether it be for your PS5 turning off or anything like that, whether it be if you're just in a situation where you picked up the wrong chest and it gives you this really bad malfunction. Like you suffer fall damage now or something of that nature. It could take one thing to destroy 2 hours.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most frustrating, because it almost feels like you have to get not lucky, because obviously what you did, Alfredo, was skill and dedication. But you do have
Debatable.
to have that good run of just getting the right items. And, you know, obviously you have to focus on getting your max integrity up, getting your weapons proficiency up. Like, to me, I don't know what I would have taken away to make the runs a little more manageable. But for me, I'm at a place where I'm going to play this game because it's a great game to play while I'm working. I can just have it in the background, you know. But I am lower than I was last week. Like last week, I was speaking the praise of this game. I'm like, you know, this game looks like it's going to be amazing. You know, what I played, the 3 hours I put in, the first boss, amazing. Since then, I've kind of cooled on it because I've had bad experiences with it now.
I think what it could have definitely taken a playbook out of Hades was how it switched it up, not only in the procedurally generated, you know, how your parasites, how all your modifiers, your guns, all that, but I think it really could have benefited to do what Hades did in that it did variants on the bosses themselves. Because as it is with Returnal, you're facing the same exact bosses, and you have the bosses after you beat them the first time are completely optional, but you are rewarded with artifacts and better things if you choose to beat them again. But with Hades, what they do is that they try to make the gameplay fresh each time by adding, okay, you're going to face this boss again, but it's going to be a variant. Like it's going to have the different move sets. It's going to have different powers somewhat. So that it keeps it a little bit fresher. And I feel like Returnal could have used some of those, you know, some of that idea to an extent just to keep it more, you know, more of a mystery of, what am I going to see as far as like a boss goes, like just to keep it more engaging and more refreshing instead of it just being the same exact boss for, you know, you feeling that you have to do it in order to be ready for the later levels instead of just punishing you for not doing it in the first place.
So do these runs not feel like, so with Hades and Dead Cells, like you go into a run and it was so exciting each time to kind of see like what those first few rooms are going to give you, you know, like Dead Cells in particular, you would get like a you get traps, and then you get like oil to put with your traps, and you pair your whole build just kind of builds off those first few, like your first biome or your first level or whatever. And it made each run was exciting because you kind of didn't know what you'd fall into and where you'd be headed. But I feel like what it sounds like to me is that you guys are going through these runs, you're looking for a few particular things, and like that's it. So that could be a downside.
You're looking for a few particular things, and you're also balancing risk and reward because you're balancing, you know, should I open this chest? I don't want to use my ether to cleanse this box. Do I want to risk it? And sometimes the malfunctions won't be that bad, but other times they can literally ruin your game. Like I had just beaten the first boss. I was like, this is going to be our run where I complete the game. I'm feeling it. I got great max integrity. You know, I have a great assortment of artifacts. I have good parasite. I feel like this is the time I'm going to complete this game, or at least get close. And I went to a chest, and I forgot what it was, but it was something that depleted my health. Like it was just super just damaging to me. And my run that I thought was going to be a perfect run, I was feeling it, ended right in the next room on the second one. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, it's not a fault with the game. It's just wasn't, you know, I just made the wrong decision there. And other roguelikes don't do that. Other roguelikes don't even put that in a make you make that decision. If that makes sense.
To me, it is a fault with a game that you could make a single decision like that could so horrifically turn the tide of your run.
Yeah.
Just a quick question: does the ether that carries over between runs, right?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that you can remotely feel like you accomplished something if you capture it.
Besides the permanent, you always keep the permanent upgrades too.
Yeah.
To me, there are two things they could have done to ease the fatigue of finishing a really long run and feeling like you don't want to have to do that immediately again. And one of them is more permanent upgrades than there are right now. I think where I am right now, almost about to beat the second boss in the second biome, have like 2 permanent upgrades, and they're like functionality things. They're not increases to my health or max damage or anything like that. It's nothing that would make previous areas easier to wade through. That's something that they could have done
key.
to lessen repetition. And they could have doled it out in a way that didn't very quickly become a like super consolidation of power where like you just run the first 2 biomes and then you get overpowered enough that you can just clear through all of them. They could have doled them out like they dole out the story, and I think that's how they are handling the permanent upgrades to some degree, but they're not useful enough yet.
Later in the game, you do get. I'm pretty sure I finished the game without getting all the permanent because there were still things that I simply just could not pass with what I was given. So I think as I go to my next runs, I'll get more and I'll get all the permanent upgrades. But you do get later, at least one in particular that I'm thinking of that does actually make the earlier things easier. But it was literally the next to last permanent upgrade I got. So you're not going to get it anytime soon, unfortunately. But they do end up doing it later in the game. So I don't know if any of the other runs will also remedy that solution or have that solution, but
you guys know what would have fixed this that Hades did?
What?
They had early access for like a year. So they balanced tons of stuff with the game. Imagine if this game was in early access for a year and they took all this kind of feedback, then it officially released.
But then they couldn't charge $70 for it.
Yeah.
So Sony would have been like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening on PlayStation.
So I got to beat the game in one sitting.
What?
Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes and no. There are like you do at some point get shortcuts to make it easier.
Oh, I thought you said you beat the game in one sitting. I was like, oh my god.
No,
no.
There's also something. There's something that happens in the halfway point that makes the answer to that no.
Okay.
So the answer is no, but it will still be it's still going to be like a 2.5 to 3 hour run, like straight through.
See, that's been my whole thing, like with this game. I've had a blast playing the game itself. I'm interested to see the story, but honestly, I'm kind of already like, it's probably going to be sci-fi weird. It's probably not going to make a ton of sense, but I'm still interested enough. But like to hear, I don't know. It's just like I just don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off a run to beat the game, which does make me nervous about. I didn't really research this, but I just heard a bunch of people talking about it, and I liked the trailer. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger, go for just kind of a shot in the dark and see. And so, yeah, I'm loving playing it, but I am nervous about it. It's like I haven't had the time or the the mental capacity to put in something like a huge run yet. I mean, when I'm getting in a run in a groove like I was before the show, I'm having a blast. But I am that does make me nervous that maybe I'll never beat this game just off some realities or the realistic parts of my life, because I am looking for a checkpoint. I am looking for okay, I know I died, but I at least got this far, and I got the I can do the teleporters now. So I was like, okay, I can do the teleporters now. At least I can do that now without having to restart completely. But it is kind of like it is like kind of putting your head against the wall when it is. I had the experience already of a malfunction that completely ruined my run, where it's just like, bah, I had the the whole 9, where it was like I was finally rolling. I was finally figuring out adrenaline. I figured out the active reload system. I was like, sweet, I'm getting this. And then I had the fall damage one, and I was like, no. Like, I was like, you can't have that in this game, because I fell all the time. That's do like that the fact that you fall off the map, it doesn't kill you immediately. Mm-hmm. It gives you, because if that was the case, there's no way I'd finish this game. No way.
I'm sure in some early build of the game that was a thing, and somebody had to say no.
Yeah,
no.
I love the way it plays, and especially Cole, you were saying this is the most next gen feeling game. Honestly, to me, not because of anything that the game it looks incredible and it plays and it runs incredible. But the DualSense, like that's where I'm excited, where it's like, this is really cool. I love what they're doing. I love the controller. But I will say, do you guys aim? I find myself like I want to like hold down the trigger the whole time to do the charge. I kind of wish that the charge shot would be the half, and then like holding down the trigger all the way would be the normal aim, because I think I'm just so hardwired to that being aim. So it's kind of hard for me to not. The adaptive triggers are rad, but it's an adjustment for me to be like, oh yeah, that there's the two different things. But it's also such a cool idea. I just don't know if maybe I'd like them better flipped, but it makes more sense for the weak, for your just aim to be the lighter touch and then to charge the full thing. But it would be nice to see more of a bar on what my charge level is for my charge shot versus just the audio cues. I don't know if I'm missing something on that, but it is a little hard when I'm finally getting the thing that can get the shields down on the things, but I have no idea when I can shoot it other than when I hear it. And then if I hold it down, I just can't even do any, you get all the stuff coming there. So I don't know. I'm super interested by it because, like I said, I haven't played anything else by Housemarque. I don't play a lot of bullet hells, but I was like, you know what? This game, a lot of people are talking about it. The trailer looks cool. I'm going to give it a shot, but I don't know what my future will be, because it is kind of fun to pop in and do a run, but it is like, I know I don't have 3 hours to put into this right now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how far we get, but the game is very fun. Like, that is the thing. It is very fun to play. And in terms of the difficulty, at least where I'm at, I don't think it's like beating me over the head with something that's super hard. I think it's just me not having the skills to do it. It's like, I don't think these enemies are overpowering me, other than I don't like the green tree looking guys. That those guys seem to be quite a ruckus. And I don't know, maybe too, shotguns seem terrible. I mean, to me at least. So like, what's the deal with that? Like, come on now. I figured it'd be cooler, but
I beat the game with the shotgun.
see, but I was saying that, and then I was getting close, and I was just obliterating people. It's like, all right, maybe I'm not doing this right. But I was like,
It
trying
gets
to stay
better later.
so far away from people that I don't want to pick
Mhm.
anything. But yeah, so I don't know. I like the game. I've enjoyed myself. I'm probably like 3 or 4 hours still in biome 1. Like, I am definitely not beating this game in 9 deaths or what, but we'll see. I mean, I'm with you though. This game, $70 is too much, because I had the same thing. I think Pokemon. I bought Pokemon Snap for my girlfriend, and I think really short story with that one is, if you like Pokemon Snap, you're gonna like Pokemon Snap on the Switch, because it's just more Pokemon Snap, cool stuff. But again, it's just like $60. Like, I feel like you could pay 40 for that, because it's a beautiful experience, but it is like, eh. And then with this, it is $70, and it's like, I was like, dang, really? Like, I don't, but it's also, video games are expensive to make, and I went with it. But I do definitely think that this would be a great PlayStation Summer Game Sale pickup for you for a cheaper price for that. Because I will say, like, hearing all your guys' your thoughts on it, I am a little bit more reserved on it, where I'm not going to put it down. I'm going to keep trying it, but I feel like a wall might be coming, and I don't know how I'm going to handle getting over that wall, if I am going to get over that wall with this one. But I'm glad I took a shot though, because I feel like I have a lot of the times I just have a routine or games that I know I'm going to focus on. So I am glad that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take the risk, buy a game, and at least I got it, a great game that's super easy. I love how quick it is to get in, and bam, like drops you in to go and stuff, which is fun.
Yep.
Well, the conversation will persist. We'll probably keep talking about it. It is frustratingly great. That's the best way I could put it.
Isn't that roguelikes, like, in the whole nutshell kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is its
My first one
own
I played.
thing. Yeah, this one is I can't compare it to other roguelikes because it's so different. It's so different than a Hades or a Dead Cells or a Hollow Knight. But I digress. Let's get into our topics. We got some pretty good stuff this week. There was a big story that kind of manifested into other little stories, but it all roots from the epic Apple court case and the court filings that proceeded from that. So I'm gonna let Ben take it away. What's going on with that?
Yeah. Really, right now, I just want to talk about there's a specific gamesindustry.biz article which is talking about a few nuggets from this discovery from Epic Apple lawsuit, and I'm interested to hear more about this whole situation more in depth. I wanted to talk about these three specific things that we can learn about Epic's business model right now. That they revealed in some documents here. So first, by the way, the article is called 3 Key Discoverability Takeaways from Epic/Apple Lawsuit, gamesindustry.biz. One of the first ones is just the split in revenue based on platforms that Epic is receiving for all of its games. I think we're included in the deck, but in this article, they're highlighting specifically Fortnite revenue by platform. We can see that the leading platforms are all game consoles, which is very interesting. PC comes in at 4th. So we got PlayStation in the lead with $148 million in revenue between January 2019 to July 2020. So about a year and a half in there. $148 million from PlayStation, $82 million from Xbox, $40 million from Switch, $27 million from PC, $23 million from iOS, and $2.4 million from Android. Two biggest things here is just how, yeah.
Wait, isn't it not on iOS right now?
This is before it was pulled from the store.
Okay,
yes.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, this runs again to July 2020.
Got you.
The two biggest takeaways from these numbers for me are just how crazy in front PlayStation is over every other platform here by a large margin, and then how the difference between iOS and Android is also really curious to me. I'm not sure why that is the case. Again, iOS is pulling in $23 million for Fortnite, and Android is pulling in $2.4 million. We know just hardware-wise, most smartphones are Android around the world. Though I think we also know in most Western countries, especially in the US, iOS is still the predominant platform. I believe that's the case. I'm pulling that out of my butt a little bit. So I guess it is still strange, even though more of the people you'd expect to engage with this game at the moment and engage with microtransactions are on iOS. Just the breadth of Android's market suggests that it should still be a little closer to iOS there. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I thought you were going to pull out the $1.8 billion number. Dude, that's crazy. The iOS and Android, that's to me the most. PlayStation doesn't really. It kind of does surprise me. I honestly would have thought iOS would be neck and neck with PlayStation. But now this, you got to remember the Fortnite. Do y'all remember the height of the Fortnite craze when like literally everyone was talking about it? You had 12, 13-year-old girls talking about it. And was it 2015, I think, or 2016? One of those. 2017, maybe.
I believe it was
later than that. I'm not sure when.
I'm pretty sure it was like 2018. 2018, I feel like was. I thought 2018 was the prime of Fortnite.
Yeah, but there was a time where literally everybody was playing. And it was almost like Pokemon Go. I mean, everyone was talking about it. Everyone was playing it. And my nieces, I think Thomas, was it your niece? One of you was saying that your niece was playing on iOS and they were so good.
Yeah,
my niece was the same way. She was like wrecking folks and like carrying me like. It was absurd, but yeah, maybe since I feel like Fortnite's popularity started to slow down a little bit. That's not to understate how popular it is, but January 2019 to July 2020 was kind of the end of that craze. So maybe I don't know. I don't know how to explain the iOS Android, because Android, like you said, Ben, so many more tablets and so many more devices than iOS. But PlayStation doesn't surprise me being up there.
No, I just don't think mobile games are as popular here, at least in the West. I think, and that's just me speaking. I know they're popular, but I just think and in my spheres, mobile gaming just isn't really a thing. So I just feel like even with the amount of access to devices, if people have the option, because when they put Fortnite on everything, when you had the choice to play Fortnite on your console, your computer, your Switch.
Craig, you're
Blame-
fired.
Yep, we're gonna blame Craig for this one. So Ben, what's the other articles in this filing that you found interesting?
There's two other things. One briefly, the Epic Game Store's exclusives are really, really important. You know, it's obviously doing it for a reason, trying to pay these companies whatever amount upfront in order to just have the game sold on their platform. But it's really driving users to the platform in a huge way. One interesting thing here is just the breakdown of the Borderlands 3 deal, essentially. What Epic gave K and Gearbox to make the game exclusive to the Epic Game Store. There was an upfront cost, it looks like, of $115 million. $80 million was basically an advance for the game itself. And then there were two other payments, $15 million for marketing that Epic was going to contribute for Borderlands 3, and $20 million in non-recoupable fees. That $80 million is stuff that Epic is going to take out from the gross revenue of the game at launch. And then the $15 and $20 million is stuff that just they're just giving Gearbox for the right to have it on the store. And then they also went in for $11 million for the Borderlands Handsome Collection and $20 million for Civilization. Doesn't say which Civilization. It might be 6 or an upcoming Civilization. That was also part of this deal. So they, in total, for this Borderlands 3 deal, it was $146 million that Epic gave to 2K. And then the life-to-date revenue on the Epic Game Store was $77 million and $23 million for PC retail and resellers, for a total of $100 million, which means that after the advance, Epic gets from their 12% cut of his first 2 weeks of sales only $9.2 million on Borderlands. But what did they want from the deal? They wanted new users. So 53% of people who purchased Borderlands in those first 2 weeks on the Epic Game Store were brand new to the platform. Wow. This is huge, huge for growing numbers of their user base. Anyway, that's for anyone who has any consternation about these Epic Game Store exclusives. It tells you exactly why. It doesn't matter how much you boycott, really. It doesn't matter how much you just don't buy these games. Enough people are buying it that it is obviously making the investments worthwhile. Do you guys have any comments on that?
Yeah, that's so interesting, especially considering it makes me really think about what kind of money is thrown around for things like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold. It really makes me think about like what kind of deals and what kind of money is being thrown about that. But as far as
next.
Yeah, I'm sure. As far as this deal goes with Epic Games, the fact that 53% are of these players of these new are people that are new to the Epic Games Store, new people who are downloading. I remember I was part of the people who were like, I'm not really too sure about this Epic Games Store just because I have Steam and Steam has all my stuff and it's just convenient. But I'm willing to dip my toes into Epic Games because I do know for a fact that they give more to the developers and I would like to support them a little more. So I'll buy it there. But I will say, I'm curious as to what their actual retention rate for new users that are signing up just for this game, if it how much these returning players are spending on the Epic Game Store versus going back to Steam after they buy that one exclusive game and then just going back to Steam and buying more games. Because I have found myself, just going back to Steam and getting games there for the non-exclusive just because it is so convenient. So, I mean, obviously, they wouldn't be a business if they didn't think about this, and obviously it's working out for them. But I am curious as to what the actual numbers are, because I would expect people to go where they are, used to being their home for games, which is generally Steam.
Based on Epic's own numbers, it seems pretty clear that the majority of the users on the site are there for the free games and the exclusives. So I think you're totally right. And really the strategy seems to be about creating a critical mass of users so that they just have enough people who are actually buying things on the site to make it sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like you said, going back to point number one of these articles, Epic Games is making 300 plus a month just based off of Fortnite. So they have money to spare and they have money to grow their base until, they become a point where they are major competitors with Steam, where people are coming to them instead. So it might take them a few years, for people to turn around their I guess public perception of Epic Games versus Steam and going to Epic Games instead of Steam itself. But I feel like they can definitely get there as long as they keep doing things like this where, they do get hate for, why are you doing exclusives on PC? We hate this. But clearly it's working with that 53% number. So I feel like as long as they're able to keep that up, eventually they'll be able to turn around the public consent of, hey, I'm going to buy it here because Epic Game Store isn't that bad.
Yeah,
as a Mac user, this all sounds very interesting.
This is fascinating, though. We never get to see the behind the scenes on this kind of stuff. This is very rare for the video game industry, and I'm sure so much stuff is going to come out of this. And I really want to deep dive into this. It's fascinating. This is really awesome. We get to see this.
It's a crazy look behind the curtain.
It is.
It's a big look behind the curtain, and then I think it just hammers home how large the video game industry is in 2021, and just kind of the scope. I mean, it's just crazy to think. I mean, $9 billion from Fortnite. We were talking there during the little break there. I mean, that's bigger than any movie ever. Like, I mean, that's just it just kind of like, I don't know, it just I don't even know how to comprehend the scale of it. And then when you're just throwing around all the numbers, all the influence behind it. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how long and how sustainable the idea of just bringing in the free people and these exclusive games is versus the total complete package of Steam. But I don't know. I never was in the camp of having too many qualms of having another launcher or exclusive games. I mean, I feel like that's the business side of video games, and if you've been playing games long enough, exclusive deals are nothing new to you or anybody. And yeah, it's not it's not maybe the most fair or whatever, but I don't know, in terms of egregious things in video game industry, that one's not super high on my list. But it was interesting.
Thoughts?
I mean, if it wasn't for Borderlands, like a game like Borderlands 3, though, I do wonder what the Epic Game Store would look like. I mean, while who knows if Borderlands, I don't know if the numbers or if that has been out, if Borderlands 3 sold what they were hoping for. But
it was successful. It was a successful game.
I mean, it was at least for me, it was like immediately. Like, if I didn't have consoles, it's like I would be in that group of new, install, bam, boom, I'm there. So I do wonder if it launched with something maybe like an Epic game or just like a big focus on just solely focusing on Fortnite, maybe what type of different direction it would be. But yeah, that's all I kind of.
So the movie industry, the box office in 2019 did a total of $42.5 billion, setting a record.
Yeah, that was a high.
Yeah, that was the highest ever for a year in the movie industry, ticket sales. And Fortnite did 20% of that alone. I explain to people all the time. I tell like my friends and family, I'm like, you guys don't understand. You think movies are big, music is big. Video games, is bigger than all that combined. That's how really big it is. It's crazy.
The only thing that evens it out is how much they cost to make in
Right.
main
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what evens it out, because a movie, while expensive, it's not going to be as expensive as how much probably Epic has invested into Fortnite.
Yeah,
I'm
building
not
a
sure.
game.
I'm really not sure about that, because the biggest revenue drivers of box office sales last year, you think about movies like Star Wars Episode 9, or God, not last year, the year before, 2019.
Right.
And the Avengers, right? Endgame
Right.
was came out that year.
Right.
And those games, I mean, those movies made billion, 2 billion a pop, right?
I think
Um,
Endgame made
alright.
3 billion.
Yeah.
God.
So what was the
And
budget?
The Rise of Skywalker made 1 billion.
No, the budget on those is like in like 200 millions, 300.
It's hard to
something like
say, no, because
we can look it up.
marketing is its own budget. They don't usually release those budgets of the marketing. And Endgame was made at the same time that Infinity War was made, so those budgets are linked. So it's
There
hard
is a
to
reported
say.
budget for Endgame, though. The reported budget for Endgame is $356 million.
And look, and they're-
massive
And
budget.
I'll add 200 million just off marketing.
So Grand Theft Auto 5, I would say it was 2013, but Google says 137 to 265. So let's say high end, 275 was GTA 5.
Right. Yeah, Red Dead 2, I'm sure, was.
So
in that
I'm with
ballpark as
Ben
well.
there. I think they're
That's
pretty
about as
comparable.
expensive.
Yeah,
It's about as expensive as games get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that was like an 8-year development cycle by the biggest studio in gaming, pretty much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Okay. Well, the last thing I want to talk about here is actually the most interesting to me. This is about the free games that Epic Games.
Well, hold on a sec. We can't hear you. Had some technical difficulties.
It was a huge static, and then you went blank. Can you say something?
Hello.
Well, we can hear you.
You're good.
Okay. What I was saying was the most interesting thing to me here is about the free games that Epic Games Store offers and what they're paying the developers for the rights to offer them for free as downloads. This is the only thing that I use Epic Games Store for, is to redeem these games. I've played one or two of these games, but I've redeemed pretty much all of them. There are some games. I recommend that everybody look at the chart because it's so interesting. That it's the total breakdown of how many people downloaded the game, what percentage of those people were brand new to the Epic Games Store, what purchase price Epic put for all of these. They call it the buyout price on this graph here, and basically what Epic paid for each of those new users that came with those free games. So if, for instance, Epic paid $1.4 million to Unknown Worlds for Subnautica. Subnautica was I believe, most downloaded of the free games on this list. Yes, it is. At 800,000 new Epic accounts. So the total percentage of people who were new to Epic that downloaded Subnautica was 17%. So the total number of people that downloaded Subnautica for free was a few million, maybe 5 million or so. That's a number. I'm doing quick math here. And then the Epic user acquisition cost, based on how many new users they got for that $1.4 million price tag, was $1.74 per user.
Man, this is awesome.
No, right? It's so like you never get to see shit like this.
Dude, damn, this is incredible. Like this is wow.
And the thing that's really mind-boggling is how little they're paying some of these developers for some of these really excellent games. And most of the really low-paid ones are old indie games. Like I think the lowest that they paid someone, one of these games is like $0, but I'm pretty sure that was a result of another deal. They because it's Metro Last Light or Metro 2033 Redux.
Well,
Metro was also a Epic exclusive game, so I'm sure that was part of the deal that you just give us Metro 2033 for
Grandfathered
free.
in, right?
So for Rhyme,
Right.
they paid $45,000.
Yes, yeah. I think that's the actual lowest one. There are some here that are names. I mean, games like Jackbox Party Pack, $60,000. You know, how many people were going to buy the original Jackbox Party Pack on Epic Game Store? I don't know.
Mhm.
It's impossible to really tell. And then there's some other games that, like, let me take two comparable games, maybe. Say The Witness and Fez. So Fez is a bit older, but they're indie puzzle games both, and critically acclaimed too. $75,000 for Fez, $400,000 for The Witness. Big gulf here. I have to imagine that most of this comes down to what the developers themselves are willing to bargain for in the price. Obviously, Epic can't throw $1 million at every single developer for one of these games. They don't have that. They don't have that kind of money, or if they do, they're not willing to spend it. But all of these developers getting below $100,000 for their games, you have to wonder what they could have gotten if they pushed.
Right.
I'm sure there was back and forth. I'm sure there was discussion there, but I think I have to imagine that for most of these indie developers, especially, this is just gravy, right? Their games have been out for years. They've sold what they're going to sell, and this is just found revenue. So they're kind of taking whatever they can get, and they could be getting more if they basically ask for it, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, because at this point, these games have been out for years, just like you're saying, Ben, and this is just icing on the cake for them. Because clearly, they're not people who want the game are buying the game initially when they're coming out years ago. Like, I can't imagine them having much revenue nowadays for something like Fez, which came out a while back ago and is getting remastered to other consoles and stuff. But I feel like this is like just bringing their game. I feel like it's good for two reasons. On the developer side, they get that money up front, but also they get more exposure to people who might not necessarily pick up that game in the first place. Because I know a lot of free games that I've got, whether it be from PlayStation Plus or from Epic Game Store or whatever. I've gotten the games and I will play them just because it didn't cost me any money. Right now, I'm playing Days Gone. Probably wouldn't have played that if PlayStation didn't give that to me for free, to be honest. And with these games that I do try, I'm finding, oh wow, this is actually pretty cool. And if they do make another, like a sequel or anything to the franchise, extend it maybe, I would be on board for, actually buying that when it comes out. So they're kind of growing their base for what the franchise could be, or for whatever new property or new IP they decide to put out in the future. So it's kind of a win-win for developers. But like you said, I'd be really curious as to what the actual talks are for, like, how these developers are setting their prices. But I would expect that Epic Games is probably asking for, like, maybe some sort of financial records on how much, like, the games are selling now. I'm sure they can get that somewhere, so that they can have some sort of number to say, okay, you're selling this much money as of now, so we're going to give you this amount of money because of that. I'm sure they're doing their due diligence somewhere, but I feel like it's a win-win for the developers, at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Just some of these buyout prices are so low. For one, the best deal, let's say this, the best deal that Epic got for new users was 32 cents a user, because they paid for World of Goo, which is a kind of a random one, right? But they only paid the developers $50,000. 6% of the people that downloaded that were new to Epic Game Store.
So I looked that up just real quick. So World of Goo came out in 2008. Which is
sure, but what is Epic paying for here? They're not paying for brand new games necessarily. They're paying for new users.
Right.
So World of Goo brought 155,000 new users to Epic Game Store.
which is crazy for a decade-old game.
That is crazy.
They only got $50,000 to show for it. You know, it's like
but
they definitely could have gotten more. That's all I'm saying. If they
Dude, I bet it
Right.
goes like
Hindsight's
this.
2020, right?
I bet you Epic calls them up and is like, "Hey, we want to put you on Epic Game Store. We want to offer you $30,000," and they just see what they can get. And then if they push back and they're smart, they'll be like, "No, look, we're selling X amount on PlayStation," kind of like what Alfredo was saying, and they present a case. Then they're probably like, all right, yeah, you're right, and then they fish out the money, But I do think it's like Ben says. I mean, why? I would call them up and just lowball them like crazy first, and just see if it works. And some of them might be like, yeah, hadn't got paid. We made $30,000 last year. That'd be nice to have right now. We're developing a new game. Boom, here, take it. Bam, it's exposure.
Yeah, you got to think
we
a lot of those are like smaller games, smaller companies.
Oh,
they might not even discuss it with like a contract lawyer.
So
they might just have seen the number that Epic offer and was like, oh, that seems pretty good. Then hindsight comes in when you see how many new users were drawn to the game store based on that particular game, but you already received your money, so it doesn't matter.
So the great thing is, like, in most of these cases, and I think we could probably expect that this is somewhat indicative of what Microsoft pays for Xbox Live Gold games and what PlayStation pays for PS Plus games. I've always been curious about, like, what are these lump sum payments looking like, right?
Yeah.
And this is it. It's, it's here,
like
black and white.
Outriders.
Yeah. So the new games are, none of these are new games,
right.
On this Epic Game Store thing. So I think the new games thing is probably going to be more akin to the Borderlands 3 deal, though Borderlands 3 was way bigger. So I'm morbidly curious still about, like, what did Oddworld Soulstorm get? Right, this kind of AA game that probably wasn't going to sell great, probably did way better numbers on PS Plus than they were going to. But what did they get money wise from Sony?
How I understand it, and I just know it's based on how, like, during the pandemic, how when, let's say, HBO Max were saying we're going to start releasing some of our home movies, or I'm sorry, our movies that are coming out in theaters, we're going to release them on this service. A lot of that is meeting with each individual piece of how this movie was made and kind of going off of how much would this have made on the market? Like, how much were you going to make on our platform to begin with, like in terms of sales? And they're going to that's at least going to be a starting number, I'd assume. Just kind of saying, how much were you going to make on the platform? And then kind of go from there, and the negotiation will probably head off from that. Because you can probably have a gauge of how much Oddworld would have sold, just an estimate of how much it would have sold if it was just would that retail for $60? I'm not for sure about Oddworld.
I doubt it. I don't think the previous games sold for that, and I'm sure all of their sales expectations were based on the previous games in the series, because it's been quite a long running series at this point.
Right. So I would assume they would have sales estimates for how many copies you're going to sell, how much is each copy worth, whether it's a $30 game, whether it's a $40 game, and that's going to be equated into how much we're going to pay you. Because if it's on this service, no one's going to pay for it. Like, no one's buying Oddworld Soulstorm, and if they are, those numbers are abysmal. At least, is it PlayStation exclusive?
I believe so, yeah.
Right. So
I think it's PlayStation and Epic Game Store exclusive, actually.
Got you. So they're going to most likely scale it, because each game is going to be different. Some game, like, let's say if you made like Grand Theft Auto 6 exclusive for Game Pass, God knows the lump sum. God knows. I don't even want to guess what Rockstar would ask for. So I think that each is on a case by case basis.
Hey, real quick. So it's funny that, Ben, you mentioned Fez and The Witness. Have y'all seen Indie Game, the movie?
I love that movie.
Incredible. So it's about the creators Jonathan Blow and Phil Fish.
Right. And Super Meat Boy was on there too.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy was on there too. But if y'all haven't seen it, Have y'all two? Have y'all seen it?
I haven't.
Seriously, I think it's on Netflix. It's unbelievable. It's incredible.
It's
Like the
not.
best. It's not on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix anymore. I was looking for it like maybe a month ago because that's one of my
Dang.
favorite like documentaries.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Awesome,
Especially
documentary.
for a gamer. It kind of gives you a peek into like indie development stuff, and it's great.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's funny. Those two, I think they were doing. It wasn't The Witness, but it was Brave.
Yeah. It came out in
Jonathan Blow's
2012.
previous game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are there any more interesting filings? Because this is like Cole and Ben said, we've never had anything like this to my knowledge. So this is, you could probably pick 10 other different things from this article. Was there anything else that you thought stood out?
There's a ton, but there's gonna still be a ton. I'm pretty sure that we will have more to discuss probably from this lawsuit.
This will be an
week.
ongoing topic. Definitely.
Yes,
definitely. I'm looking forward to
going
it.
on.
So the next one, this is a fun topic. We're in the fun hour. So we're gonna kind of not gonna take too long on this because it's gonna be happy memories. What is your gaming comfort food? And what I mean by that is something, some game that you play that obviously you're good at, something you enjoy playing that's relatively stress-free, that whatever game you're playing, whether you're frustrated in Returnal, whether you're frustrated in, another game you're playing, you can just go back to this game and it's just comfort food. Anybody want to start?
Your favorite bag of potato chips. You go to the pantry, you have your go-to, what is it?
See, I got a good list here of a few of them. But like lately it's been sports games where it's just kind of with all these games, sports games coming to Game Pass, I've been able to kind of catch up. I didn't really ever buy Maddens I liked playing them, but I bought one copy of FIFA or Madden a few years ago, and that was the one just because not enough really to change. So lately that's been there, but I mentioned it in my reminisce. I can always go back to Dead Rising. I can beat that game. That game is very stressful for a lot of people, but for me, it's like I kind of got it down where I started, and it's like, all right, how well can I beat this game? That's really like kind of the question. And then at the end of the day, like one game that's always been there, always played, like it was something yesterday I was dabbling and it's just something I was like, need to kill a little time. I don't want to do anything too intense. Roller Coaster Tycoon. I got the complete Roller Coaster Tycoon collection 1 and 2. Not I like those ones more than the later ones with like the Six Flags DLC and all that stuff on it. So those I would say those are my gaming comfort foods.
Brad.
I totally forgot about that game. I used to play that on
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, I used to have that. That's crazy.
It's there. You can get it all on Steam. It's awesome.
Oh,
I had
man.
no idea they
Yeah,
had.
that's where it's the same. I have the same version on my phone and on my computer.
Yeah, I had no idea they had Six Flags of all things expansion. Do they have
Oh
other theme
you
parks?
can play real
DLC?
Six Flags parks. They have their own, and the Six Flags rides. Like it's awesome.
Cool. I
Is
assume
there a
it's
Busch
Tycoon.
Gardens one?
I don't know
Is there
what's
a Busch
going on
Gardens
with
DLC?
What was that?
Busch Gardens DLC?
It might honestly. I went fire it up here.
If there's a Busch Gardens DLC, I'm in. I'm in completely.
Let's see. I'm curious. Yeah, but those are mine. Like I sometimes too. Like another one too is Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. If you're just looking for something to have some fun with some friends, that one's a great time.
I don't have anything that I just like keep installed on my hard drive all the time, I do have a few games that I go back to very frequently, namely the Arkham series.
So good.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum. I loved that game as a young teenager, and I played all the games. I platinumed all of them except for what's the Arkham Origins. That one has multiplayer trophies, so I have not platinumed that one. But I platinumed like Asylum and City on PS3 and PS4. And it's just like every year or so I get the itch to go back, and then I got to go them all again. But I don't have anything that I go to more frequently than that.
That's good. That's good. Mine is very similar to yours, Ben. And I discovered it this week that I can't ever take this off my PS5. Like, I just can't.
I know what it is.
Oh,
Spider-Man.
man.
Spider-Man.
Oh, man, you got it.
I saw you playing it I think it was today or yesterday.
I don't know what it was. Like, 'cause you know what it was? I had a really good run in Returnal that got ended very prematurely. And I was very frustrated.
Needed that
And I was
comfort
like,
food.
Get that comfort food.
let me go to my game that I know, because I don't know if I feel like there was a multiplayer Spider-Man, I feel like I'd own in it. You know, I love that game. I know every inch. I've only been to New York like maybe 3 times. I feel like I know New York. I swung so many. I platinumed it on PS3. I'm sorry, PS4. I'm close to platinuming Miles Morales, and then I'm playing the one on PS5, and I'm like, oh, this is almost like a brand new game. And so I'm going to platinum. I made a decision today. I'm going to platinum it today. And I'm like, there's no other game that because I don't platinum games. That's not my thing. There's no other game that I would even entertain platinuming twice. And this one, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I already know I'm going to. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen maybe end of summer, but it's going to happen because I just love that world. Spider-Man is my favorite, anything of all time. So yeah, it's my favorite game of all time and definitely my comfort food. Like you said, Paul, sports games are another one, but sports games tend to frustrate the hell out of me. Because I'm an online player. I'm an online player.
Or whatever. I got no qualms. It's like I was playing Madden and I like bumped up the difficulty and it was getting way hard. I was like, nah, I'm going back to like playing it on like the lower difficulty just so I can
see. I play online. Like when I play 2K, I'm playing online. So, I'm at the mercy of so many little things such as lag. That's the main one.
Right.
And I wish those are as comfort as I, want them to be, but they end up causing more stress than something like Spider-Man, where Spider-Man, it's literally just dive in. With PS5, it loads up super quick. Just dive in real quick, collect some book bags, get my black cat accessories, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's to me, perfect video game, but that's just me. And it's my comfort food.
It's a good pick.
Great pick. Both of those are great picks.
I haven't heard a bad pick yet.
I might have a bad pick. So I have 2 comfort foods that I would have probably have never thought I would ever like either one of these games, just because growing up I never played anything scary. My first game is Dead by Daylight, which is my go-to like casual game. Matches last 15 to 20-ish minutes, so it's something you can get in and get out real quick. And okay, so growing up, I did not like anything scary remotely. I don't like scary movies. I hate being scared. So anything regarding a murderer chasing me and me trying to get out barely with the skin of my teeth is something I never thought I would like. But I love this game for some reason. It is not the best game. I will be the first person to tell you it's simply not the best game. It has a lot of issues, but the loop in it is just so fun, just figuring out how to use what is given to you. You can't even fight back against the killer in this game, unlike in Friday the 13th, which you could. But this game is just so fun with all of the different DLCs they have, bringing into just kind of it goes into different forms of media. So there was like a Stranger Things DLC, which brought in the Demogorgon from Stranger Things and characters from that show. So just being able to like interact and bringing things from other types of media is just really fun. And each killer kind of has different powers. So just figuring out how to get around them. Same with the survivors that come in. So that's like my go-to comfort food. And then my other one is Overwatch. Growing up, I never, ever played anything first-person shooters. I did not like. When growing up, I played a little bit of Quake 2, I think, on PC, but nothing competitive at all. Just playing like on LAN parties with some of my friends and family. That's about the extent. And actually, we didn't even shoot each other for most of the part. We just explored the environment. But when Overwatch came out, it's I don't know, it was just so different with the superpowers instead of being so standard militarily. It brought out this different type of shooter that I don't know. It just really scratched a different itch that like I could be this badass superhero with these superpowers. So I find myself going back to it whenever possible. I haven't played it in a while, but definitely will be going back to it, especially when Overwatch 2 comes out. So yeah, if anybody plays those games, let me know and we can party up.
I've always wanted to play Overwatch.
I only got into it because they did like a free weekend like trial on the PS4.
I did that. I remember that. I remember I did that, and I thought it was fun, but I was too busy with Uncharted 4 multiplayer.
Yeah,
I remember that time period.
Don't remind me that exists. I hate it. But Overwatch is great.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait for Overwatch 2. That comes out next year, right?
They really don't know, honestly. It was supposed to be this year, but they moved it. So sometime next year, but we'll see. I'm very excited for PvE, especially because as it is, Overwatch just has basically what they call events. So every so often, like Halloween, they'll have a PvE, a Halloween mission that you can play. So a few times in the year, they give that ability to players, but they always rip it out. And mostly it's just PvP. But Overwatch 2 will have a dedicated PvE campaign, which I'm super excited for.
Can't wait. Cole, we know the answer.
Well, look, I'll give you an example. So tonight, I was trying to eat healthy. I sat down, had my nice salad, my water. My cousin texted me, and he teased me with a big old bowl of Lucky Charms, and it was Rocket League. And I had to eat it up. I was about to play Returnal. That was my healthy food. I was going to experience something new, dive in. Literally, he saw me get online. He was like, he just texted me RL ? And I was like, God dang, I got to do it. So I played from 9 to like 9:58 when I got on here with you guys. But yeah, Rocket League, and then that's my number one, and then number 2 is GTA 5. And that's it. Yeah, I've said enough about those. So,
are they for GTA 5? Are they still coming out with like new heists and stuff?
Yeah, they just released a. I haven't even played this actually yet. I want to jump in, but what's the name of it? It's a new island they added, and it's like, you go to the island and you do the heist, and then you unlock the island. And I think you could have it as a safe house where you can travel to the island and take people. Pretty cool.
Cool.
I've kind of been wanting to check out GTA Online just because I want to get back into the game once the PS5 version comes out, which is supposed to be later this year, right?
Dude, I'd love to play. Look, man. So it's so. So they have the. Have y'all done the businesses yet? So the businesses are like, a lot of people hate it because it's grindy and you gotta like. Anyway, it's pretty complicated at first, but it took me a lot of reading when I jumped back into GTA to figure it out. But you buy like a gun base, and you over time while you're in the server, your base, you're building guns, like you're building up your cache of guns and stuff. So you'll have $1 million worth of armory and stuff. So you have to transport it from your base, like out in the mountains, to the city, and you have to do it in the live server.
Good
which
luck.
It's crazy. So there's 32 people in there, and you're trying to transport them, but you get your crew together. So like I joined a crew of like tons of people. There's hundreds of people in this thing, and you go to servers and there'd be like 8 of them in there, and you would just like text them all and say, hey, y'all come and give me support or whatever. And dude, it would felt so cool. You would be like driving your guns in this like 18-wheeler, and you'd have 2 choppers, some motorcycles beside you, and they're all like escorting you to the safe house, and like all these other players are coming and trying to get you, and like it's just GTA at its finest. Look, so I heard the cops.
Yeah, it sounded like somebody got some stars.
Yeah, but dude, it's so cool. So like, if we did that, it would be fun. Like, yeah, you may lose your $1 million worth of like weapons, but it's like the experience and the adventure of trying to get them across the map when you got everybody just throwing everything they got at you. It's pretty awesome because you cool. appear on the map. It says like Ben is moving his armory from this, and you get rewarded like 100 grand or something if you take him out. But
Nice.
Cool.
yeah, it's great.
Cool. All right. Did we miss anybody? Just want to make sure.
I don't think so.
Nope.
All right. Well, that's our gaming comfort food. So we're pretty much almost done. The last thing that we need to do is our podcast within a podcast. I'm talking about Reminisce.
Ooh.
Now, plot twists for this week. It's not one person. It's not two people. It's all five of us.
Ooh.
All five of us are going to go over just an experience that we had for a launch of either a game or a console. So I'll go first just to break the ice. No, wait in line for games. The only times I have a positive and a negative experience. So I'm going to go with the positive to keep the good vibes. So I remember when the Nintendo Switch was first announced, I said, that looks cool. I really want it, but I'm a broke college student, so I don't think I'm going to get it. So I didn't pre-order the night it was pre-orders were out. Didn't pre-order. Days lapsed. And I remember I was supposed to get my hair twisted. And halfway through the twist, I just said, stop. I need to go get in line. I need to go to GameStop. So I go with half twisted hair. So I put a bandana on, safe to say. I go to this GameStop. There's not really anybody in the GameStop. There's like 3 people in front of me. So I'm like, if I don't get in this line right now, I'm not getting the Switch. Now, the thing is, I had to go to the bathroom.
No.
And it was like, I'd like to say it was like 5. It was like, so I was like, I need to make the decision right now if I'm going to wait in this line or I'm going to go to the bathroom and maybe my spot's not going to be here. I get in line and not 5 minutes later, 20 people show up.
Wow.
Oh,
You made the right call.
Right?
Dang.
Hold that fire.
Exactly. So I meet a whole bunch of interesting people because essentially
That's the best part.
Yeah, it was the best part because it was funny because I met a couple military people, somebody with a different political aligning to me. We had some crazy, interesting conversations. It was one of the most interesting nights of video games I've ever had because it was just us talking about from politics to anime to video games. It was amazing. And I feel like that's what a console launch should be about, meeting
100%.
people who like video games but come from different backgrounds than yourself,
Mhm.
That's what I took away from getting my Switch and still have it to this day, still love it. So that's me.
Nice. Who wants to go next?
All right.
I'll tell you guys.
Go
I'll tell you guys
Ben.
about. I'll tell you guys about the time I didn't get a game console on launch.
God.
No, I made the decision consciously. I did not have many consoles growing up or anything like that. PS3 was really the first one of any consequence for me, and I didn't get it on launch. But over the course of my play with the PS3, I became a total PlayStation addict. So when the PS4 rolled around, my palm started itching a little bit. I really wanted it, but of course, at the beginning of a console cycle, there's really nothing to play. And I was severely cash limited at that point because I was still in high school. So I, after much deliberation, decided not to get the PS4 on launch and to wait a full calendar year for games to be released on it. But what I did during that year was buy all of the PS3 games that I had missed from the generation and play all of them over what I call my summer of discovery. That'll be my reminisce topic for next week. I'll just tease it for you guys.
Beautiful.
All right.
That's awesome.
All right.
Nice.
All right. I love that. All right. Paul.
All right. I'm going to go rapid fire because I have a few. First one. So Halo 3 launch is coming up. I'm talking a bunch. I mean, super excited. I don't know what it was like for you, but Halo 3 was like a groundbreaking game in terms of my friends and all my friends. When that came out, it was the game. It was the Fortnite for a bit. So I remember I went to sleep.
Right?
and I was like, oh man, because I think I told my dad, and I wasn't 17 yet, so you still need your folks to take you to get an M-rated game. And I didn't like ask or beg. I just said, I was like, oh, I wish I could go get this game, but I fully anticipated going through school the next day, and then once everything's done, once my dad gets home from work, we'll go pop up and we'll go pick it up, because they were usually cool with that. But 11:30 like rolls around, and my dad opens my bedroom door, and he's like, hey, you want to go get that game right now? And I was like, yeah, I want to go get this game right now. Jump out of bed. He goes out there. He takes me up there. He waits a little bit in the snow with me. And then I go in there, and they let me play a little bit, and I fire up that first level, and I'm like, oh, and I remember I got to make so many people jealous when I got to school that next day. So I'm like, yeah, I already got it. And I'm going right home, and I'm playing Halo as soon as school's over. I already played the first mission. It was super, super fun. And the other one was the first time I went to midnight launch by myself. It was Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and me and my two best friends, we went up there. We got Chinese food, met a whole bunch of people, played in a Smash tournament, and just we were there for like 6 hours, just the anticipation, waiting for the game, and they were like, it was like an event. It was just so cool, and because of that just led to me and my my one buddy. We went to midnight releases for everything, because my last one was for Gears of War 3, where that was the time where I just went off. Like, my buddy and I both had the collector's edition pre-ordered, but then his pre-order got messed up. And so, but someone had canceled their ultimate order with the Marcus Phoenix statue, which is actually sitting above me, but it's my book stop. So all my books would fall over if I grabbed it. But yeah, I just upgraded. I left the Gears of War launch with the ultimate edition, a Gears of War controller, and I was like, just freaking out, because I had just fully bought in. I'm a big fan. I'm bummed that the midnight launch isn't as big of a deal as it used to be. It was something I hold very, very fondly. It's near and dear to my nostalgic heart.
Those PS5 midnight launches were crazy.
Speaking of which, pick me for the next one. So I said I wasn't going to talk about PS5, but I think I need to talk about the PS5. So I actually only have maybe 3 midnight launch experience. God of War 2018, Kingdom Hearts 3, which I was going to talk about, and then PS5. So I got to hit on the PS5 because that was just too smooth of a transition, Thomas. So basically, I wanted the PS5, just like everyone and their mom. So when Sony finally broke the news and say, hey, we're going to finally offer these pre-orders, and then confused everybody with, how they were doing it. Didn't let anyone
blame Walmart.
Didn't let anyone know when they were actually going out. Walmart, GameStop, all Best Buy. It was just complete chaos. I did not get anything. But I did learn that there was someone on Twitter who gave updates on, whenever they had stock or whatever. But there were also people like Best Buy and Walmart saying, hey, we're going to do another wave, saying at this time, we're going to have it gone. We're going to have it ready for pre-order. I was like, okay, I'm ready. At this time, I'm ready. I'm clicking refresh every single time. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get one. And I did not get one. Every time I pressed the button, it would be some sort of error. The screen crashed. The website would crash. Everything went wrong. I was never able to get one. This was like 3 months before the November release date. So multiple times of getting my hopes up of me never being able to get one. I just gave up. I was like, I guess I'm not getting one. It's not meant to be. And then November came around, and I heard of a little tip on Twitter that there was a Target app that told you how much inventory each particular store had for the PS5. So what I was able to do was I was able to look which stores had the most stock, get ready for, that midnight launch when pre-orders would be available for people on Target to get them, and just hope for the best this time. So I was able to get on the website, enter my credit card information, and just keep pressing the button until the payment went through. And after 20 tries of just trying to get the payment to go through, it said, congratulations, your pre-order is good, and you can pick it up the next day. and I did not sleep that night because I was so excited. I immediately pre-ordered Miles Morales, and another controller, Sackboy, just so that I have like some days again so I could just enjoy the game. And when
Euphoria.
I finally picked it up, I could not believe it. But yeah, that was an experience.
Just real quick, because I was on it as far as the pre-order night, I got the tip from my friend, get online right now. They're on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it. It was in my cart, went through completely, got a receipt and everything. I was like, all right, cool. And then I get a call from SunTrust, and SunTrust is like, so we detected fraud in your account in the amount of 500 and it was the exact amount. And
I was afraid.
It was the robot. I was like, no, it's not fraud. It's me. It's me. And they're like, all right, well, just contact the manufacturer to get your order reordered. I was like,
it's too late.
I wanted to throw something at the wall.
I feel like I had that issue with Target, and I had heard stories of
it was with Target. It was with Target.
Yeah, I heard stories about that, and I heard something about like make sure like you either order something like a $5 item before with the same credit card so that doesn't happen. So I like did that before, and a few of my friends actually had that same thing happen to them because they didn't do the whole credit card thing. I was just super superstitious. But I got my PS5, so it worked out.
Congrats.
All right.
Right.
You may take it home?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I would say something, the Halo 3 one. So the craziest, this is not going to be my story, but the craziest launch I've ever seen would be Halo 2. My freshman year of college, I was in Athens, Georgia. It was a college town. Alfredo knows where it's at. It's University of Georgia. But the midnight release was in a GameStop in the mall. It was on the second floor. And I wasn't even a big Halo fan. I went with one of my best friends to pick it up. And we walked in that mall. And the line was people were sitting on up the escalator and around the corner. Like it was a trail of, I want to say we recorded it back then, but it was just, actually, no, we couldn't have because 2004, we don't think we only have phones that recorded stuff like that. But I feel like that we had a grainy video of this somewhere. But anyway, I mean, I would say there were probably 4,000 or 5,000 people. And I get so hyped for launches. Like this stuff is just like, I live for this stuff. Like I love movie. I'm a midnight movie guy, midnight video game guy. I just absolutely love it.
Nothing beats that feeling.
Nothing beats it. Yeah. Nothing, because you're with
part of
people that are passionate. Like this is why this is special with us. We're all passionate about this thing. We get together. It's exciting, and you go somewhere and like you're so hyped for this game to come out. It's just, it's special, dude. I have probably 100 of the stories because I've been to so many midnight launches. My first console launch was GameCube. Midnight release was the GameCube. I was actually 16 years old. Me and my cousin bought it at a Kmart. It's the only place we could get it back then. Anyway, so my story is going to be GTA 5 was the other hype launch I saw. Then that one
Mine
had
was
a lot
huge.
of people.
The launch was huge.
Yeah, that was a hype. I love that was a great
God,
launch.
It was good.
I forgot about that one.
It was hype. And I remember I got back to the house and I had like my brother-in-law and his girlfriend, and everyone was watching me play because it was such a big ordeal. We went and got this game. Anyway, my story is going to be the PlayStation 3 launch because this is just the most memorable. It's the most crazy. You're coming off PlayStation 2, the best generation in gaming. I mean, unbelievable. It was 2006 November, and it was probably the coldest day Georgia has ever seen. So I lived in Atlanta, North Atlanta, Kennesaw. I transferred college, went to Kennesaw now at this point. This is about 20 miles north of Atlanta. So PS3 dropped that night. We were banking on just going up to midnight, going up to Walmart a few hours before and picking it up. Well, we start calling everywhere, and everywhere they're like, no, look, we're getting 6 PS3s, we're getting 2 PS3s, we're getting 8 PS3s. Everywhere was so short, we couldn't find a Walmart anywhere. So we finally found one in Forsyth, Georgia, which is like, I'd say an hour and 15 or 20 minutes south of Atlanta. And this Walmart in particular was one of the only last Walmarts that closed its doors at like 8 p.m. So they closed at 8, and they said, I was like, so how are we waiting for this game? They're like, you're just going to have to wait outside. We open up at 9 a.m. you can get it out of him. So my best friend didn't want to go. He had class the next day. He didn't want to go. A guy on his baseball team was like down to go with me. So we hopped in the car and just took off. I didn't even know him that good. So we ride down there. We're hyped. They said they told us, at that time they said there's no one in line yet. And they're like, we're getting like 17 of them. So we're like, okay, we're on the way. Dude, we flew down there so fast. We get there and we run to the back, talk to the people, and they're like, yeah, we're getting them. But apparently they didn't have them in yet, which is just insane. But
so stressful.
So dude,
that
we get there.
So stressful.
Oh man, but they're like, okay, you guys are number 1 and number 2 in line. And somehow he got to be number 1. I don't know how we worked it out. But I was like, okay, I didn't care. They're getting 17. It's not a big deal. So we wait. So we go outside the door. They shut the doors at 9. Other people start showing up literally within minutes that we're standing out there. And it is freezing. Like we're wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, tennis shoes, like not prepared at all. Like we had a hoodie on, but we weren't prepared for this was 20. I want to say it was, I need to look this up in like the history books, but it was like 22-degree weather that night. So that's like, so this is so awesome. Like, so probably 25 people showed up. We had to turn people away. People were riding through the parking lot all night. So we literally all were just camping out there. We got there, I think, at like 7. They released the PS3s the next morning at 9. So like we're in with this crew of people and we're all sitting around. His mom lived like 30 minutes away and we were so cold. She bought us two camping chairs, a blanket, and a heater that we plugged in behind the Coke machine.
That's awesome.
So dude, me and this guy are bundled up and and everybody refers to us as like number 1 and 2.
The OGs.
Dude, yeah, we like felt like we were kings. Yeah, we're number 1 and 2. What's up, guys?
No big deal.
Awesome. No big deal. But so we're huddled up together in these little camping chairs, and we got this big blanket across us and a heater under here. It was perfect. I don't even think we ate food that night, but it was so awesome. Like the whole night, we were like making friends with people and talking, playing games, staying up all night. But the bad thing is we camped out these people and we really got to be good friends with them. There was even some big issue about, I can't remember what happened. Some kind of big argument took place and we all had to like mediate this huge argument. And it like, anyway, it got relieved or whatever. But the morning came, the manager came, he was like, guys, I got bad news. I told y'all 17, there's only like 6. So like it was heartbreaking because like everybody had been with us for, honestly, we got our 17 people in line by like 10 o'clock that night. So they had been waiting with us as long as we'd been waiting.
That's heartbreaking.
Oh man, it was. It was.
That's heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. But I remember I got the one with the chrome on it, the fat PS3 with the chrome. The what was the gigabytes? 40 gigabytes at the time. I think it was a 20 gigabyte model and a 40 gigabyte model. It was Chrome backwards compatible and everything. And I picked up a copy of Resistance, which sucked, but I mean, dude, the experience was just unbelievable.
That reminds me of I went and I did go for the Black Friday hope this year to get consoles. Last year I should say.
Is that what it's called?
What was that?
It's called the Black Friday Hope.
Oh, I don't know. I was going with the Black Friday hope of getting a console. I don't know.
That's because that's a really good name for that.
And
that's really cool. That's a really good name.
And I was like, all right, how dedicated are people? And I was desperate. I was like, you know what? I want one of these damn consoles. If I got to sit up, I had a limit on the hours I was willing to wait because it was cold, and I was like, nah, I don't really want to deal with it. I pull up literally. I was curious because I was driving home and it was about 24 hours early. And I was like, damn, there's already people here. This guy waited for nearly 24 hours and the PS5 stock was super limited. The PS5s didn't show up to that store. So they had to turn them.
No.
He had waited all night. He was the first in line.
It's terrible.
And then the bummer was I missed out on getting an Xbox One by one person. I waited in the line. I came back and I was there for maybe like 3 to 4 hours, and the line literally just like there was a guy with like a little notepad, and then he just stopped right in front of me. I was like, But then I got lucky one day and I nailed both consoles online in the same day, and I was freaking out. But I felt so bad for that guy. I was like, oh my God, what a heartbreak. Because there's nothing he can do. Like, you can't like pre-order that console. He was just SOL. Such a bummer for him.
Man,
Did y'all see the newscast of the two guys who brought their mattresses to the
Dude, the full
No.
bed is crazy.
they brought the full mattresses for the PS5 release, and I think they were there for like, it was more than a day. It was like 36 hours.
Jeez.
Crazy. I didn't even know that was happening. I thought like stores weren't doing that because of COVID. Like
That was
they weren't allowing people.
That
GameStop
was what
the
was
only one that
supposed to
did,
happen.
and people were like, GameStop, what the hell are you doing? But then
Yeah.
everyone else was like, I'm gonna go out there and give me a goddamn video game console if it kills me.
Right.
yeah, I will say this was the most
Literally.
lackluster. It was the most lackluster launch for me. I went to launch day and picked it up at Best Buy. I just walked in and picked it up.
What?
Which one?
PS5. No, I had it pre-ordered at Best Buy.
Oh, okay. I was
Like, yeah, you just walked in and be like, oh, hello.
Yeah, I was like, this is super easy. It was just sitting
We got like 100 of them back there.
No, I had it pre-ordered. It just wasn't much fanfare around it. I went with my little boy and I took him because I wanted to take a picture of him and me getting the PS5, so it was kind of cool. We did the classic thing where we buckle it into the seat, you know.
Oh yeah, you got
All right.
Dude, like we're the only people, like gamers are the only people that understand this. Like these are days we will never forget. The day we got PS5, PS4, you know, all our Switch and all this stuff. It's incredible.
You guys are making me feel like I missed the opportunity. So call PS6. We're going to the store. I can't.
There you go. There you go.
The Dukes of Gaming PS6. We're all
There we
doing
go.
it.
We're there.
It's gonna be a live stream.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the Dukes of Gaming podcast. I'd like to thank anybody who listened to this. We appreciate your support. Any last closing remarks?
Go play some video games.
I still need friends, so add me on PSN.
Add him.
Let's do some GTA 5. I'm down to get a little crew together. Dukes of Gaming crew.
Do it. Let's do it.
Be down.
Follow me on Twitter at @TheRealThomas and go to my website for any music or beat requests at TheYear4000.
PSN Riku 12764.
Let's see. You can follow me at Paul F. Holden 33. I'm also hosting a new baseball podcast, Locked On Rockies, if you want to talk some Colorado Rockies baseball. Or you could check out Groovy Soup, artists and bands of Ohio and all across. Another little show that I do in addition to all this, if you want to check that out as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. And on that note, thank you all for tuning in and have a wonderful rest of the weekend.